You the shake.
An old milkshake.
Man, you got some questions, Sheikh. Oh, man. I'm about to go out the door. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We're going to open up the floor a little bit for some questions. If we know the answers, we'll answer. If we don't know, we'll say we don't know. Don't be surprised if it's more I don't knows than I knows. All right? Inshallah. We have a list of questions from the sisters, so we're going to start with the brothers, and then we'll go back and forth. Yes, Fadl. Alaykum salam to Allah.
Experience about seeing knowledge. Some of them, subhanAllah, are very sincere.
Inshallah.
But they fall into, for example, Sufism or without the intent. What do we say about these types of people that
May Allah help them. I don't know, what do you want me to say? Right? I mean, so are you looking for, like, like if a person accepts Islam and they fall into, let's say they fall into a path that's not correct, right? If you know them and you have knowledge and they respect you, then you could try talking to them. Remember, if you recall when we first talked about giving knowledge and sharing knowledge, is how is your manners, right? Goes back to your mannerisms. Maybe today might not be the best day to say something. You might want to hang out with them for a week or two, go out to eat, build that, establish that relationship. Like, yo, man, like, what made you go that way, as opposed to the way I'm doing? I mean, I see this way to be the right way. Why'd you go that route? And then that's the conversation, and then you can start helping somebody that way. That's if you're sincere. See, a lot of times with people, we feel how we feel, and we assume our way is the best way, and we want to beat somebody up because I know more than you. I'm better than you. You're on that batil, I'm on the haq. I'm going to separate myself from you. And then that person will be like, I don't need to be around you anyway. Right? The only time people really suffer from stuff like that is living overseas. And what does that look like? Overseas, if you boycott somebody and you both are overseas together, they really don't have nobody, possibly. But in America, you boycott somebody here, it's like, man, I don't need you anyway. His man he grew up with that's not even Muslim, like, yo, man, forget them dudes. We're going to go do us. And then you leave somebody off to themselves, and that's a problem. Even when it comes to boycotting in Islam, boycotting is only beneficial if there's a known benefit in doing it. If there's no benefit in doing it and there's more harm, and this goes back to maqasid al-sharia. This goes back to what we talked about before, the intent behind Islamic legislation. You have to be a person to weigh the pros and the cons of everything you do. Is there clear evidence? And if not, what's the pros and the cons? How do I measure that situation? So I say this to say this. If you know a brother that went down the wrong path, you know him personally, befriend him, be kind to him, be gentle with him, talk to him. Learn from him, and then you can start educating them and helping him along the way, inshallah.
The question says, would you consider teaching a class focused on the etiquettes of seeking knowledge? Inshallah. Inshallah, we could put something together. Adab al-Talib al-Ilm, which is basically, if we just grab the book and read through the contents of the book, it'll give you a better idea of what's going to be covered. How to sit in class, like you mentioned. How to even come to class. What should you wear when you go to class? How to ask a question in class. How should you, the person going to class, your heart, the behavior, being sincere, trying to learn. It's a lot of chapters just on how to seek knowledge. Hopefully, inshallah, there's plenty of books on that. Hopefully, we can go through something like that. What are some?
Let the Sheikh
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sheikh. I'm sorry.
I just want to ask a question. Like on the average, the curriculum that y'all went through, and on y'all personal study time a day, how many hours a day did y'all study on the average?
On a good day or a bad day?
Average, good day.
Medium day. That's the bad day.
I don't know, man. What's a bad day?
Yeah, what's a bad day?
I'm gonna let him answer. My bad day might not be his bad day.
I mean, I'm gonna just give you a general day. A day we got school or is no school?
It depends.
It depends. If we got,
It depends.
If you got school,
We got
it's
school
one thing,
that
it's
day,
no
or is it no school?
For real, just in general, your whole day is knowledge. Everything else, and may Allah forgive us, is when we get time. Seriously, I'm not trying to be funny. Your wife, your kids, eating, everything is when I get time to do it. It is life, so you got to go to the store. You still have responsibilities to your wife, your children. When you go to the store and when they call and there's necessity,
Taking the book
the
with you.
books got to be in the car. Like, we got books stacked up in the car.
Listen, I shake. We didn't put. It was our life. I'm gonna give you an example. If I had to go to the store, right? My oldest daughter at the time, she could read Arabic, so I would go to the store and I'm like, bet I'm taking her with me. Take this book and read out loud while I'm driving to the store, and that's how we used to do. Seriously, she remembers that. I would grab her, put her in the passenger seat, give her the book, start reading while I'm driving, so I can understand. So this is what we used to do. That was our life. So some people might have been sports. You got to understand, when you leave America and go to a different country, you took on a different life. This is what we're trying. This is what we're here. The thing about us, we didn't want to say, hey, I left everything in America to come over here and be a fraud, sitting in Starbucks all day, because it was students that was doing that. Now, am I right?
Yeah.
Starbucks. I mean, nothing wrong going to Starbucks, but just sitting there all day, talking about people all day.
Wasting time.
Wasting time. They were official time wasters. We didn't want to be like that. So it's like I would take my kids and go to the park. We had like a little rug. I put my rug down. Kids go play, and I had my books reading. And I would look up, y'all good? Good. All right, let me get back to reading. My son over there, he probably remember.
Not trying to be funny. So basically, you wake up after Fajr, you don't sleep. You don't sleep after Fajr. You gotta do at least. You gotta do at least 3-4 hours after Fajr. That's gonna take you to like 10 in the morning, right? 10 in the morning, by that time, everybody in the house getting up. So now, people running in and out, so you get what you can get until Dhuhr. After Dhuhr, more than likely, you're gonna take a nap till Asr. After Asr, you back. Now, something might happen. Somebody got to go to the store, you got to make a run, you grab your books, and you're going to make the run. You're not really trying to go in the store with them. I'll wait in the car. It's cool. I'll wait in the car. No, I need you to come in. Dang, all right, I got to go in. For the times you got to go in, you got to have the book in the pocket size. So when you go in, you can still, you know what I'm saying?
I could bump into him in the supermarket. We both got books with us.
You got to have your stuff for you all the time. And you just trying. You might, even when you walk through the store, right, you might not get that much, but it's the mentality. You got to be trying at all times. No days off. You know what I'm saying? You might not get that much, for real. But here, I can't be out all day with no books. Like you're not serious. To us, you're not serious. If your car, we have books all out night. That's just part of the day. So it's not like you setting, okay, today I'm going to do 6 hours. That's not how it goes. It's really the opposite. All day is that. And then even when I got to do something, I still got to make sure I'm able to get something. And then whatever you get, whatever Allah give you, alhamdulillah.
So I'll tell you another story. When brothers will come visit, we can say it now because we
No,
back.
don't say that.
No, I'm going to tell the truth. When brothers would come visit for Umrah, we would be mad.
Not mad.
We would be mad, Sheikh. We would be mad. Why though? We would be mad because it would take away from our study time. So what we would do is, when we pick up brothers and we knew they spoke Arabic, we'd be like, bet. We get them in the car and we start reading the book with them. Like, yo, what you think about this? Open up this. Because our thing was we have to get benefit. What did we learn today? What did we cover today? It has to be something. If we went through a whole day and we didn't learn nothing or read nothing or covered something like that, you feel bad. Like that, I'm wasting my time while I'm here. You got to understand something. Allah blessed us to live in the holiest city on the face of this earth, Mecca, where the salat in this place is worth 100,000 times more than any other place in the world. When we think about it, we like, oh man, like, I don't want to be a fraud. I used to always remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Well, he said that Mecca and Medina, the munafiqeen, will not be allowed to be in those places. So every time I would leave outside of Mecca to go to Jeddah, I'd be afraid that I can't come back in. Sahullah. Every time I'm like, dang, man. I remember the first time I left Mecca, we was in Mecca for like a couple months when we first moved there. And we had to take a taxi to go to Jeddah to go get some furniture. And I had my family in the car, and I was literally scared to leave outside of Mecca thinking that I couldn't get back. So while we were there studying, it's like, all right, while we're here, we got to get it. We can't play. So we would talk to you know, what are you reading today? What are you going over? I call him, he's memorizing. Somebody else I remember one time, I think I said this story before, Jamil Finch, he used to live next door to me. And I left out the building, and I was tired. It was late at night. And his library was next to the corner store in our neighborhood. So I turned everything off. I'm ready to go to bed. I was burnt out. So I said, let me just grab some water or something real quick. I went out, grabbed the water, and I looked up. I saw his light on. I said, dang, I got to go back in and study some more because I didn't want to be outdone. That's how he was. I don't want him to outstudy me. So I went back in my library, turned the light on, and just stayed up studying. But that was the mindset. The mindset was we got to get it while we're here, 24/7. And the thing was, the concept was, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took our souls, we wanted to die on knowledge. We wanted to die in seeking knowledge. That was our mindset at the time, you know? So like I said, you couldn't put a time to it. It was that's just what it was.
It says, what are some of the first books a new student of knowledge should read or study first? Someone studying his homeland. I would say it depends on your level. Depends on the level of the person. It's not one book for every level. Depends on the level. You start naming books, every book is not going to be appropriate for every person. It has nothing to do with the specific book. It has to do with the level of the student. You may want to study that certain book, but you're not at that level. It's books before that a person may need to read and study before they get to other books. So I would say it depends on the level. To say that there's one book, everybody need to study this one book, that's why you got problems now, because it's above a person's level. That's not the level that they're at yet. They can build up to there, but you might, as we say, you're giving them too much too early. It's things before that they need to learn. So I would say it depends on the student.
I would say start with the Quran. I'm gonna say this: when we first went to school, I think we were slightly misled by some of the people that came before us. and being misled, what I mean by that was, anybody that I know that's going to go study Islam, focus on two things: the Quran and your Arabic. That's it. Focus on finishing the Quran. They say, oh, sit with the ulama, finish the Quran, then go sit with the ulama. Some of the ulama, and this is my advice to any young students that's going to study, focus on your Arabic and the Quran. We were told, no, go sit in durus. We would sit in classes and didn't understand nothing, right? When we could have used that time to finish the book of Allah, but it delayed it. Am I right? Yeah. I'm just being honest. Yes. If you look through the books of the Salaf, they would say, if you didn't finish the book of Allah, they wouldn't even let you sit with the ulama. The ulama, they start mentioning ayat for dalil. We like, damn, where that ayat? I never heard that before. So now I'm trying to figure out what the ayat is, and they on to another subject. Part of, when we all say we follow Islam, we say Quran and Sunnah. But when it comes to the Quran, we forget about the Quran. The Quran, start with the book of Allah. You will never go wrong. That's the best book of Aqidah, the best book of Adab, the best book of everything you need to know to get yourself right is in the book of Allah. Start with the Quran and your Arabic. Arabic and the Quran. It'll take you 2 years. We could have been finished if we were told correctly. We weren't told correctly. The Arabic program, 2 years. It'll take you 2 years roughly to finish the Quran. By the time you go into the university, you hitting the university hard. You got your Arabic and your Quran and you tough. You ready to rock and roll. Now, when you go over Quran, now you're doing tafsir. Now you're going in a different tafsir. Now you're starting to understand that. When the ulama giving classes, it looks better to you now. It makes more sense to you now. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, oh, don't sit with scholars. I'm telling you the book of Allah. The book of Allah. That's what you need. The best book to start, the best book. We say it every Jummah. The best book is what? The book of Allah. Well, khayrun hadi, and the best guidance is what? The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So how do we leave off the book of Allah? So the best book, my advice to anybody that want to learn deen, start with the Quran. You'll never go wrong with that. Name one person that said, I wish I didn't memorize the Quran and I wish I would have sat with more scholars instead of finishing the book of Allah. The ilm of ulama is preserved too. But and the thing about that is you may not be given the opportunity to memorize the book of Allah again. You go overseas to study, that's your time to finish the book of Allah. Any young student that want to go study, finish the Quran. Finish the Quran. And after that, everything else will open up for you. You'll probably be even, if we would have, and Allah knows best, if students would have finished the Quran in the Arabic program, they probably would be stronger students.
For sure.
By the time they graduated. Even stronger. You understand? So that's my advice.
When I first got there, sit with the scholars. That's what you got to do. My Arabic was nowhere near ready. I go to a class at Masjid bin Baz in Azizia. Sheikh Muhammad Bazmoul. He's teaching Masal al-Jahiliyyah. I get the book printed out. I'm ready. I don't know. I'm like, dang. All I know is Hada,
Baitul Baqarin.
Sunnah, Kitab Allah, Rasulullah. Like, I don't know nothing, but I'm not getting no bill. I'm sitting there, though. I'm sitting. If somebody would have asked me when class was over, I just came from Sheikh Muhammad Bazmoul class. I was there between Maghrib and Isha. Couldn't benefit, though, because my Arabic wasn't good enough to benefit. But did I sit there? Was I with the Sheikh? Huh? I was there. I was with the Sheikh. I sat in the class of the Sheikh. Sheikh was teaching Masal al-Jahiliyyah, right? And I was there, and I was sitting there, but I couldn't benefit because my Arabic wasn't strong enough to benefit. So you got to get your Arabic right in order to really benefit from scholars, not sit there in front of them to benefit. And when you sit there, you might get the general benefit of adab. But if you're there for ilm and knowledge, you're going to need Arabic if you're going overseas. It says, can you guys do a course on the methodology of seeking knowledge, a book? Inshallah. منهجية الطالب العلم. I often have questions about how to worship or about understanding the rulings on things I may or may not want to do. I have questions about how to pray and more. Other questions. Okay. Who and how do I ask when these questions come up? Google and YouTube isn't always clear. I think it's important that everybody connects themselves to, I'm not saying connect yourself like that, but everybody needs to take serious some class. You have to learn. None of that's just going to fall out the sky into anybody's brain. You got to put yourself in the class, put yourself around the knowledge, and inshallah, you're going to start benefiting, picking up things just being around. And the more serious you are about learning, the more you're going to be able to learn. But you got to at least be around where the knowledge is being given out at. You got to be around the class. Just because you go to the class, I don't understand everything. Okay, you're going to learn something. You might hear something that pushes you to another class that is on your level that you didn't know about. You went to one class and you found out about another class that suits you, that's more appropriate for your level. But you got to be around. You're not going to get it just being in the house, especially if you're saying Google and YouTube is not always clear. It's not. So you got to at least put ourselves around it so we can hopefully be directed to something that may suit us if that class is not on our level. Allah.
Yes.
So with that question of asking questions, you all have a lot of playlists on YouTube. I see you all have a lot of classes. I've been through some of them. So if I have questions specific to that class, let's say like on a class like 4 years ago, how do I ask you all questions about that specifically? Like if I'm going to class, because I can't.
You should come here. Like you do
The way you here right now.
This is, oh, you live in D.C.?
I can't remember for the class.
If I wanted
to like, is there like you all do like a Q&A session once a month to answer questions like the question on that card, and then also with the classes that you all have online, I have like playlist after playlist. And I have a lot of something I may not understand. I know I sitting by myself is not good energy if I don't understand something. I don't know if y'all have an email. Y'all got a class.
Send the email.
Answer those questions.
We're going to answer them.
We bad, man. Stuff for the love.
man.
We're not that good at responding to stuff like that. I don't know. Stuff for the love. The easiest thing, I mean, I know, man. I don't know. If you send an email, we could try. Inshallah. What's your name?
What's your name?
My name is Dawood.
Dawood what?
Dawood Abdullah.
So your email say Dawood Abdullah?
It's gonna say Dawood Abdullah.
This
Say
way,
Dawood
when-
Abdullah from DC.
so when he see it, he,
No, when he see it,
he
he'll
can know
know.
to make sure he get back with you. We be trying, but
Yeah,
Allah
I'm
understand.
gonna because I don't have to right now. I don't have the ability. I went and studied for a village.
Where'd you go?
I went to Egypt. As a matter of fact, I met brother.
Yeah. Where were you at in Egypt?
Cairo.
Where?
mashallah.
I went to Fajr Center and Shaddai.
Mashallah.
For like 2 months.
No, alhamdulillah, that's good.
I had to come back, and I'm trying to go to Charlotte.
How old are you?
32.
What's wrong? What's wrong with that?
Alhamdulillah.
I know, but I know I don't have the ability to go. I work so much. Hold on, this is why I work so much. I don't have the ability to study unless at night, and my kids are asleep and stuff.
Alhamdulillah.
Man, Allah awards you. No,
I
Sheikh,
mean,
listen.
I mean,
that might,
that's
listen,
tolerant.
man.
That's it.
May Allah awards you.
You get what you can get, how you can get it.
I don't want to ask y'all questions.
See, now you're making it difficult for us to ignore your emails now.
Stuff for the love, man.
All right, yeah. So you know him. Oh, man, that's the connect.
I met them in Egypt. I saw him and another brother-in-law.
All right.
Mashallah.
He looked like American, so I asked him.
Thank you. I don't know why you handed it.
I don't know.
It says, are scholars required to document their knowledge in order to, what is that?
Cut back.
To cut back on a risk of it being lost when they pass or become old or recall their knowledge? I don't know what that means by required to document. Maybe a scholar may be required to teach, and perhaps their students document it. Like in the case of Sheikh Al-Thamaraat, rahimahullah ta'ala, a lot of his students recorded his durus and turned them into books, right? And that actually happens a lot of times with scholars. Their students compile their notes and put them together in books. Yeah, Allahu A'lam. What scholars do you recommend we know and learn about?
It's a question, Sheikh.
A lot. I don't even know how to answer that.
The scholars you learn from.
A lot.
Like who?
A lot. I mean, if you mention one, you're going to do a disservice to the others, right? Some of the Salaf will say, look to the ones that pass because they can't make mistakes no more, right? So you start with, the books of the Salaf, obviously. Now, I'll tell you what we did. When it came, let's even with that, I mean, what scholars? What scholars?
You should go all the way back as far as you can. Start with learning who the Sahaba are, because there's ulama from the Sahaba, scholars from the Sahaba. Learn who those people are and work your way up. Because anybody that's new, I'm sure everybody already knows the famous scholars. Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh Uthaymeen. We know, all right, it's books translated by the scholars. We know those scholars. If you don't know them, majority of the books that you go into the bookstore and buy are the more famous scholars of this era anyway.
Sahih.
The books that are translated are from the scholars that are famous. Not that it's restricted to them, but they're more famous than others for whatever reason, right? Now, as far as the other scholars, it's like they're just names to know. If you just want to know names, then the more important names go back to start with the Sahaba. Start there and start working your way up. When you see names and you hear a name, you should. Now, this is what Google is good for. All right? You hear a name, Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Google his name. There's books written about Abdullah ibn Mubarak. But we should know before Abdullah ibn Mubarak, we should know Umar ibn al-Khattab, we should know Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Ali ibn Abi Talib. We should know the Sahaba before them. As far as famous scholars, you want names? Do y'all want names?
I would say Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, because a
You should
lot of his
definitely
stuff,
Sheikh
a lot of
Uthaymeen.
his stuff is translated, which is beneficial. Mufid, who? Sheikh Fawzan, a lot of his stuff is translated.
Some is translated.
Sheikh bin Baz, I think a lot of his things are translated. I don't know what's available though. Sheikh Abdul Razak, a lot of his stuff is translated. Who else? Some of Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah works are translated, but his works may need a person. Listen, the books of Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah may need explanation. Rahimahullah, because he was on a different level academically, intellectually. If a person translates his works, it could be the translator don't understand what they're translating.
Actually,
Say again?
Actually, it's a section, I think it's in volume 2. Sheikh Saleh al-Sheikh has a section in volume 2, and he does a whole class on how to read the books of Sheikh al-Islam and Taymiyyah.
Yeah,
Just how
it's
to
a
read them.
science
You got to
to it.
understand how he wrote them and how to read them. So,
Sheikh
yes,
al-
his books are translated, but they might need,
You got to learn how to read his books. You can't. His books are not just. Oh, let me just casually read his books. It's difficult.
mashallah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah,
That's the
alhamdulillah.
Sheikh. Well, that's the
Well,
Sheikh.
so his master's is in Aqidah.
Sheikh
So that's
Khalid.
what he focused on. So that made it, But the next one, it says, what if one of the known scholars, I don't even know who's a known scholar to me, might not be a known scholar to you. I don't know what that means. But it says, what if one of the known scholars say, Brother Fulan is upon innovation, and his statement is translated to relay the message to the lay people? Should one ask for proof of the scholar provided? That's a good question. I'm gonna let you.
What if one of the known scholars in relation to his statement is translated to relay the message? Of course, the scholar has proof, right? From good thoughts about the ulama is that when they speak, they have proof, right? That's husnul dhan. If you're going to relay something that a scholar said, you should expect that the person wants to know why the scholar said it. For you to come and say, Sheikh Fawzan said this, the person, they should, why you say that? I'm telling you, it's the sheikh. Okay, it's the sheikh, but why did he say that? Hey, the sheikh is not enough in our deen. The sheikh had to have dalil, just like everybody else has to have dalil. The sheikh has to base what he's saying on the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that should be a question that I'm ready to answer if I'm going to say, sheikh said this about this person. I should be expecting the person to say, why did he say that? And what dalil did the sheikh use? I should be expecting that. If not, then we're dumbing our deen down to, you should just take it because I said it. And that's not our deen. Even before
First
we
of
get
all,
to that,
you can get to that.
before we get there, if I say this sheikh said this about him, I should be ready for the person to respond, why did the sheikh say that? Based on what? You can't be mad for me asking. I want to know what is the dalil. What did the person, why? What did he do? What did the sheikh do? Did the sheikh say that about him?
I'm gonna tell you something. He's not gonna mention this, but when we were in school, there was a brother who took a statement of another student and he twisted it up and went to the sheikh and asked him, and the sheikh said something about that student. He called the brother up, said, "You knew that wasn't right." Remember that? He called the other student in Medina. "Why would you say that? You know that wasn't right." And they got off the phone with him. So when it comes to people relaying stuff, it's not all authentic. Everything is not genuine the way it looks. Some people may have agendas. We're not mentioning names, and we're not going to do it. It's not necessary. But the thing is, some people have agendas. The agenda is not the same. If a scholar says something about anybody here in America, I'll give you an example. A scholar might say, "You're an innovator." You might not even know the scholar. Why would the scholar say, "What did I do? Why am I? What did I do to become an innovator?" Because the rules that we mentioned earlier, they don't just apply to us. They apply to them too. In fact, it applies to them more than it applies to us. They got to follow the same protocol. The same conditions that have to be met and the same mawani' or the same prohibitors have to be fulfilled. If a scholar does that and they're not fulfilled, then you don't got to take that statement either, because they follow the same rules. I know he's all me. He said you don't got to take from. Yes, I said it. I stand on it. Why am I standing on it? Because we studied Islam. I'm not saying we're scholars, but I'm saying we know the rules. There's rules to this. Brothers and sisters in Islam, there's rules of engagement. No one can say anyone's a scholar unless they follow the protocol. There's a protocol. You can't tell me Sheikh such and such say he's an innovator. Why do he say that? I studied Islam. I want to know why he said, what was his evidence? What did he use? Oh, okay, you just got to take it. You talking to the wrong person. You talking to the wrong, because the reality of it is, you're talking to brothers that dedicated a portion of their life to learn Islam. That don't work for me. That's not going to soothe my soul. Do you understand? That's not going to put comfort to my soul knowing that you said this brother's an innovator and I don't know why. I'm not going to, no, I need something because somebody had to come to you and give you that information. Who was the one who brought the information? What did they say? What was said? What evidence was used? How did they, and let me say this to y'all, just so you guys know this. When we talk to scholars, a scholar will answer the question of a person based on a question that you asked. What does that mean? If I call a scholar, if a scholar knows that you're a student of knowledge, right? A scholar knows you studied in Jamiat Islamiyya or you studied at Qurra, the scholar knows that, right? If you say, Sheikh, this is such and such, I sit in your classes, what's the position on a person who says this, this, and this? The first thing that scholar's going to think is, you're not a real student of knowledge. Why? Why would a scholar think that that person is not a real student of knowledge? Why? Why? What's wrong with the question? He didn't do his due diligence. You're called a talib ilm. That means you seek and search. Before you open your mouth and ask a question, you got to do your own homework. If I would have called the sheikh and said, Sheikh, there's a brother, he said this, this, and this. Now I'm thinking he could have said it based on this evidence over here, but some evidence over here refuted it, but I'm not confused. I'm trying to look at the dalils. That's a different conversation. That sheikh now is not going to answer the question the same way he would if you didn't have nothing with you. We saw that happen. That's why I'm telling you. You might ask a scholar about an issue. He's going to answer you differently than he's going to answer Saajid. Saeed's going to say, well, look, Sheikh, the Sheikh says, if the Sheikh says no, it's this way, Saeed might say, well, wait a minute, Sheikh, what about this evidence right here? Because I use this, and based on this, this, and this. And he might say, no, your evidence is wrong because of this, this, and this. So now you're coming to some understanding, right? It's not just one way and that's it and you walk away. Everyone here had been made to believe. I remember there was a time there was a brother, he was going over an issue. I remember I was in Jeddah, I was in a car, and it was a lecture. It was something that happened in Atlanta. And somebody told one of the brothers, I'm gonna tell the sheikh on y'all. Like, what is that? I'm gonna tell the sheikh on you. Like I'm telling my dad. What is that? I'm gonna tell the sheikh on you? You're talking to grown men. Just the language, just think, just the language itself. I'm gonna call the sheikh and tell on you. Oh, I'm sorry, let me get in line. What is this? This is not Islam. What is that? I'm going to tell the sheikh on you? You're talking to grown men. You're going to tell another grown man on a grown man? Nah, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. If a brother has an issue Islamically, talk about it. Educate, teach. But people use telling the sheikh as a scare tactic. Why? Because people are afraid to be refuted. Oh, they're going to talk about me. Let me get in line before they refute me. Come on, man. That's not Islam, y'all. That's not what we've been taught. It doesn't work. We don't use scholars as scare tactics. I want to tell on you. We're grown men. You want to tell on a grown man. Make sense? There's certain things like this, it comes to your mind like, dang, he's going to really, what? You going to tell on me? I'm 40, you going to tell on me? You laughing because that's how they had people believing. And so grown men got scared. He has a statement. When we was in school, he always make a statement. What was your statement?
You serious?
No, you got another one.
What?
His statement used to be to the brothers, if you scared, get a dog.
Oh, scared of the dog.
If you scared, get a dog. And the problem is our community, we've been afraid, right? We're not supposed to be afraid of, if you're going to tell a scholar on me, go tell him. I don't care. Because guess what? If he has something against me or anybody, they got to have dalil. Remember the rules. If I did something wrong, if I went against a principle in Islam, all right, because now I can pinpoint where my error was. But if I can't pinpoint, then how am I wrong? This is what I'm telling y'all. Islam has rules and regulations. If a scholar says you made a mistake in this issue, you're going to be like, either you can see the mistake or you can't. I can't see the mistake. Sheikh, where's the mistake? I don't understand. You did this, this, and this. But I did this, this, and this based off this, this, and this. I've seen scholars like, okay, that's a good way to look at it. But we were blessed. And the reason why we're like this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us to study with ulama that we were allowed to have those conversations with. That we were allowed to go back and forth on Islamic issues so that we understand them clearly. We were allowed to do that. We didn't study under scholars. We was afraid they're going to tell on me. Are you a grown man? Somebody going to tell on you? Yes. Already said it. Abu Ndi Su'a. Yeah, that's what it is. The father asking questions. Yeah. The next one, and this is the last one, I think. It says, is it possible to establish a legal process to prevent teaching classes in a masjid or Islamic center if there isn't a qualified imam or student of knowledge there to head or lead? If there isn't someone qualified to lead, should these establishments be allowed to be considered a masjid rather than a musalla? Similar to the way you can't open any establishment or school without the appropriate license or certifications. Would it be acceptable Islamically to try to implement a legal process like this? I'll let you handle that.
Allah alam. I don't know if that's beneficial to our situation. Everybody, the reality is everybody who's teaching has to know their level, know their lane, and stay in it. That's the safest thing to do. You start putting legal restrictions on people, we might be going down a path that we don't want to, that could be dangerous. But the reality is every person that teaches, whatever, you know what you learned, and you know what you understand, and you know what you don't understand. We human. I know what I don't understand that well. I need to really brush up. That's not really clear to me. I'm not going to get up and teach something that I don't know that well. Everybody needs to do that in whatever situation it is and stay in the proper lane. If we don't go outside of what we know or what we're comfortable doing, or not comfortable, what we know, then we should be fine, inshallah. But that goes back to every person taking responsibility for themselves. A lot of people don't want to stay to what they know. They want to go further than what they actually learn. And that's a personal problem. That's personal. Allah knows best.
I think legally, I don't think that's possible legally. We don't have, Islam is not established here to the point where you can say, anyone can open up a masjid. Anyone can open up a musalla. The problem is, like he said, you got to be honest with yourself and know your level. You got to be honest with yourself. Any other questions, brothers? No one else have any questions? Yes. Father.
So the rule of engagement when a person calls a person a muqtadi or a person an innovator, do the scholar have to reach out to the person of the mistake and explain it to him, or the rule of judgment here being muqtadi?
In general, if a scholar is going to label a person of innovation, he has to go through that process.
So he has to talk to them.
Whatever ways of communication is necessary is needed. It's needed. Otherwise, what information is available? One statement? Does one statement of innovation make a person an innovator? No. Does 3 statements? No. There's a process. Huh? There's a process. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe they misunderstood the text. I remember one time, Sheikh Abdullah Mani'i. Remember him? Mm-hmm. Hafidullah, from the major scholars. He taught me Islamic inheritance laws, right? I sat in a classroom during final, and there was a student who made some errors in Aqidah, like serious errors, the type of errors that would be considered a person to be an innovator. When I finished my final, and I handed my final, he pulled me to the side and says, did you hear what he said? Are you familiar with what's going on? I'm like, no. He said, Fulan, did you hear what Fulan said about X, Y, Z? I said, no, I know what you're talking about. I said to Sheikh, well, what's going on? He said, if you didn't hear about it, don't worry about it. I was like, dang, I got shut down. But I was cool with that. Once I left and I talked to some of the other students who were standing in the hallway, I'm like, man, what happened? They said, oh yeah, such and such, he made some statements, but the sheikh is trying to figure out what he said so they can have a lejna, so they can have a meeting with him, bring him to the side and talk to him about the statements that he made to help educate him. This is what scholars do. It makes sense, doesn't it? Don't it make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Huh? Well, it goes on, you just don't see it. Maybe because the people that be saying it didn't study. Maybe they never saw it. You understand? Maybe they didn't see it. But the sheikh literally called a meeting, had everybody around, whoever was involved with it. If you didn't know about it, you wasn't even invited. If you knew about it, he had you in there, and they talked and tried to educate the young brother, to correct his thinking. Whatever he had in errors, why do you think like that? What happened? Where'd you get it from? Okay, this is what's correct. That was the purpose of it. The purpose of it was education, teaching, right? Not in bed. He didn't tell me what he said. So the other students told me. The sheikh didn't say, oh yeah, he said this, this, and that. No, the sheikh didn't say, he kept it to himself. But what we do is you find a statement that a brother makes, and we'll screenshot it, video record it, put it online so everybody can hear it and everybody can have thoughts and feel how you feel. See the difference?
The only way to get around that is what? Knowledge, learning. Until people are, as individuals, dedicate yourself to learning on some type of level, the chaos that we see is going to be continue. The only problem is when you have knowledge, you're able to deal with the chaos a lot better. It's a better way to deal with it. And the less you know and the less you understand, the more confusing it is. And the more you learn and the more you understand, it's not as confusing. So if I stay at a level where I never really learned my basics and stuff like that, I'm not even talking about overseas learning, y'all. I'm talking about regular basic Islamic practice, learning and practice. Learning and practice. If I do that, things are going to be a lot more, it's going to be a lot clearer than it was. Are you going to know everything? Not necessarily, nobody knows everything, but it's going to be a lot easier to deal with. Our problem is it's basic things we haven't learned, so it's confusing and it's chaotic. But that's based on our level of knowledge. The more we learn, the easier it'll be to deal with the chaos. Of course, it's a fitna that's an ongoing fitna. And if it's not something now, it'll be something next year, and then it'll be something there. But if my level of deen is at the same level by next year, I'm going to still be confused. That's why Sheikh Muhammad al-Harbi used to tell us before we left and to come back to America, and he knows, and other scholars, they know all the stuff that be going on here. Everybody knows. Scholars know. He said, da'hum, lead them, leave them. I don't worry about leave them, da'hum. Leave them to keep doing what they're doing. Whoever it is, that type of Islam, leave it. Teach the people the usul. Teach the people the basics of deen. Once they learn that, they're going to be able to see what's right and what's wrong. Our problem is a lot of times we attach things to people. So he's the problem, not what he believes, none of that. Him, the name, this man. So therefore, anybody that is connected to this man, you're also a problem.
Yeah.
And that's not deen. Deen is deeper than that. But in order to go deeper than that, it takes knowledge.
Speaking of Sheikh Muhammad, we're just going to put this out here. In the next couple months, he said he's going to be coming back to America, coming here to IMFC. So he's one of the, I know I put it out there, Sheikh, so I ain't about nothing. The Sheikh's boy, inshallah, he'll be. Listen, the Sheikh, inshallah ta'ala, he'll probably be here sometime in November, right? But we're pushing for it. Sheikh Muhammad Harbi. He was supposed to come here before COVID started. But when COVID happened, he didn't come. So he said that he's trying to come back, inshallah, in a couple months. When he come, it's going to be on. So get your questions together.
If you're trying to learn.
If you're trying to learn. I mean, to be honest, we trying to learn too. We got to tighten up. Like the brother made me feel some type of way. So I'm reviewing a shot. So it'll give me an opportunity to get a little sharper too.
You know why the review is shot though? We're not, what you're looking at now is dawah.
Yeah, we die.
This is dai. If we was for real, if we was on the taller end, it'd be no time for this.
Nah.
Honestly, it wouldn't be time, because when you learning, you don't have time to. It's other people that could be teaching. Like you can go learn it's classes. You go, right? So when you're in the taller end, you don't have time for that. And there's no disrespect. It's just that your time is locked into reading, learning, review, memorize. That's what your time is there for. anything else outside of that, you're going to look at it as a distraction. And the more distractions, the less you can focus on your studies. So we in a situation now where this is more da'wah than talab al-ilm. So you teaching, and that's one of the best ways to keep the knowledge is teaching and reviewing. Bye-bye.
Due to us having the internet and not being able to get overseas, you have some scholars, students that give courses and teach curriculums online.
Alhamdulillah, that's good.
To participate in that if you can't go overseas.
For sure, why not?
Like for
It's only going to benefit you. It's going to
He
benefit
said
you.
it's people, everybody can't go overseas, but it's online, the internet. There's live classes playing. It's all types of access. I don't know who the teacher is. Well, you can find out who the teacher is. It's always to find out. He said, do we encourage people to use the online sources? Use the online sources. We use them. You use what you can do. You do everything that you can do to put yourself under the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man salaka tariqan, whoever goes on the path of knowledge, that Allah is going to make the path to paradise easy. Whatever you're able to do, like the brother said, he can only do it at night when the kids is, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
But your nighttime might not be good for you. You might have to do in the morning. You might have to do in the afternoon. Whatever fits your schedule to try to be under the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's what all of us need to be doing. Inshallah.
Any other questions? Tayyib.
We could stop there. Inshallah.
Got a question, Sheikh? You sure?
This was just an encouragement, y'all, to learn.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Over there, when you're studying knowledge and you feel kind of feel you're not getting it, what did y'all do when y'all felt kind of defeated or like you wasn't
So the brother said if you're studying knowledge and you felt like you wasn't getting it.
You felt defeated.
Yeah, so me, I reacted differently. He probably reacted. Me personally, when I was studying and it was something I didn't get, I panicked. Literally. If I was studying, like for example, I'll give you. It was the book of Qiyas in Usul al-Fiqh. I studied it in the university. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, and I looked around the class and I felt like everybody knew it but me, so I got scared. Right? So what I did was I called up my friend Adil Sharahili. He's probably one of the mashayikh in Mecca now. I said, listen, you got to meet me at the masjid after Fajr and help me go through all of this so I understand. Anything that I didn't understand, I reached out to my classmates or people that I knew that understood it, and I was just like, listen, where we going to meet up at? Because I can't sleep until I understand this. And it would take me hours, but once I got it, I was cool. But if I didn't get it, I couldn't sleep at night not knowing it. It would like bother me. I'd probably be up all night worried, like, oh, I don't want to not know this. That's me.
I mean, I would panic too, but my first thing is to go home. I would panic, but I go home and try to find books on the same, I had the books on the same thing, try to find something simpler to dumb it down for me. After that, if that doesn't work, then I'm doing what he's doing. I got to call somebody. But first, I got to go to, because there's some scholars, their books are very, 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 very simple.
Sheikh Fawzan.
Sheikh Fawzan is one
He's
of
the
them.
best.
His books are so simple.
Yes.
So maybe the teacher might have been a little wordy the way he explained it. I didn't really get it. Yeah, Sheikh Fawzan, one of the first. I got to go home and look at his. Let me see. Because he makes it super simple. If I can't get it from there, in my opinion, if I can't get it from a simple like that, I'm in trouble.
I'm a little
Sometimes
different.
at the same time, even though Sheikh Fawzan's books are simple, sometimes they're too simple, where he might not even mention the issue you're looking for.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So now you got to go to another book. Well, who else explained it? Who else explained it? Nobody explained it. I can't, that I have. I don't have any books that explained it. Now I got to do that. I got to call somebody. Listen.
I'm calling.
So it's a kind of a panic. It's scary. It's Dean. I don't know it. I don't understand it. How? I'm supposed to, you have to understand it. So it's kind of scary, especially if it's Aqidah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You remember when we was doing the online with the sheep, I didn't understand that. I called you to come to the class.
Where, up the street? Yeah.
He was like, he was studying at a level that he thought we was already at.
Right.
I didn't understand nothing.
Yeah.
It was like over my head, everything.
No, I've been there. It happens. Yeah. Yes.
Was y'all starting a class or something?
When?
say you had asked earlier about who would come.
Oh, he was asking.
Oh, the men. Inshallah, we're going to start it, inshallah, for the brothers, like we're doing for the sisters.
How soon?
But we not finished the sister session yet. So we got to finish the sister session. I don't know if the sisters know. The week coming up is there's only 2 weeks left in the sister session. The second week is their final. So after that, we got to take a break. And then inshallah, we start back. Inshallah.
I mean, if we can get, we'll put something out. If men are serious,
That means you got to send in the email, brother.
yeah, you gotta send in the email. You gotta do some due diligence. Yes.
Yes, Sheikh.
Just to let them know, the only reason why we don't have a men class now is because we don't have enough women in the class.
Yeah, he said the reason why we don't have men classes because it's not enough men that want to come and learn.
Every time we put it out,
Listen, understand something. When the sisters come to the class, this whole place is packed to the brim.
we move the walls. Hey,
The whole place is,
Whole zone is filled
the
up.
whole thing is filled up. And they be coming to learn, like, they be trying to learn.
May Allah reward all of them. And you know that, never mind.
No, what? They go home teaching their husbands.
Alhamdulillah, that's khair. That's khair. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just
Nothing wrong
saying,
with it. But
brothers,
know
you
they-
might want to feel some type of way
They
about
do
that.
expect you to, they expect the husband to teach them. That's the expectation. That's the expectation. Nothing wrong with a woman teaching her husband. Nothing wrong. You benefit just like the Sahaba benefited from Aisha, radiallahu anha. Nothing wrong with it. Right? But it should be some jealousy for the knowledge. Like, it's khair, it's some goodness. We should, right, be rushing to the good. So inshallah, brothers,
Any other
we're
questions?
gonna put something together, inshallah.
Yes.
Outside of that particular curriculum that they talking about putting together, is it any weekly classes, like you just finished Holy Hadith, and you finish your, you know, you're a Muslim, like all of those classes came to an end. Is any of those classes or any,
I'm about to start a new class up soon.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
tell us what it is?
It's about being bankrupt. No, I'm serious.
Bankruptcy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. Remember we was talking about residual income? I got a class about that. I'm serious. Inshallah. Huh? Yeah, we could do Thursdays. Yeah, we
Go
could.
ahead. We
Thursdays.
just resetting. The classes are on reset right now. So we ready to start over. Inshallah, if Allah makes it easy.
Tight. No more questions? Yes.
Will we be able to have any more insight about it besides about bankruptcy, or we got
Insight about the class? Yeah. I mean, what type of insight you want?
This is my man.
I'll talk to you later, Sheikh. Tight. Any other questions? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته